With a heavy heart, I type this message, unsure if this is the right place to seek guidance. My situation feels so vastly different from those around me, and I am filled with desperation. It's been 25 years since my wife and I first fell in love, and 19 of those have been spent as husband and wife. We were high school sweethearts, two young souls bound by an unbreakable connection. Over the years, we were blessed with two incredible children, our daughter and son. I always believed that our marriage was built on a solid foundation, one that could weather any storm. But now, faced with the harsh reality of our crumbling relationship, I realized just how naive and wrong I was. The shattered pieces of what once was linger in my mind, a constant reminder of all that has been lost. Throughout our adult lives, my wife has dedicated herself to being a stay-at-home mom, a decision we both agreed was best for our family. After our kids left for college, however, she began to feel restless and lost in the empty nest syndrome. She confided in me that she felt unfulfilled and had lost sight of her own identity. I desperately tried to suggest new hobbies we could do together, places we could travel to, or even adopting puppies as a way to fill the void. At first, she seemed enthusiastic about these ideas, but soon expressed a desire to do more than just coast through life. I understood her need for purpose and growth, and was eager to support her. It didn't surprise me that she struggled with staying still. She's always been one to constantly be on the move and embrace new challenges. After complaining to a few friends about her lack of career opportunities, one of them managed to secure an interview for her at a prestigious real estate firm. I was just as excited as she was when she accepted the job. In the beginning, everything seemed perfect. She was thriving in her new role, and we were both proud of her success. But after the first year, I started to notice some changes in her behavior. She began going out for drinks with her co-workers, texting more frequently at home, and even late into the night. Her wardrobe also underwent a subtle transformation, opting for more suggestive clothing that accentuated her figure in ways she never had before. However, what truly raised my suspicions was when I accidentally saw a message from a male colleague on her phone. The contents of the message were highly inappropriate and flirtatious. When I confronted her about it, she seemed shaken but assured me he was just a friend and that she would talk to him about his behavior. Wanting to trust my wife and not be controlling or paranoid, I chose to believe her and let it go, a decision I regret now. As time passed, her actions became increasingly erratic. She spoke of wanting more spontaneity in life and even took up smoking weed. I couldn't help but make jokes about her seeming to relive the college lifestyle of our children. I gently suggested she slow down, but one night, after another evening of going out and drinking, she dropped a bombshell on me. In a slurred state, she mentioned that perhaps I was holding her back and dulling her shine. It was like a punch to the gut. I had never considered that I may be hindering her in some way. Feeling blindsided, I did everything in my power to improve our marriage. I booked counseling sessions and went to couples retreats, but it all seemed to lead nowhere and only furthered the divide between us. Suddenly, like a bolt of lightning from the clear blue sky, my wife's strange behavior came to an abrupt halt. She sat me down and apologized for her actions, admitting that she had felt lost and disconnected from herself. But at that moment, looking around at our home and family, she realized what she had and didn't want to lose it. Without hesitation, she resigned from her job, and we began marriage counseling together. At first, it was a challenge, but as time went on, our relationship grew stronger than ever before. My wife became more attentive, initiating intimacy and showering me with affection constantly. However, there was one issue that continued to bother me. Her relationship with our daughter seemed to be declining rapidly. Every time I brought it up, my wife would brush it off as a phase or a normal part of being a woman, and foolishly, I believed her every time. But during this period, something miraculous happened. My own relationship with my daughter flourished. She started calling me more often and meeting me for coffee or lunch during the week. On special occasions, she even surprised me with gifts like t-shirts or small trinkets. Though I insisted they were unnecessary, I could tell she had something on her mind each time she gave me one, but held back from speaking up. The evening was like any other until tragedy struck. My wife had gone out to do some grocery shopping and was returning home when a drunk driver careened into her car, shattering our lives in an instant. The once vibrant and active woman I married was now bound to a wheelchair, her legs rendered useless by the accident. As days turned into weeks and months, things went from bad to worse as she struggled with her new reality. In moments of despair, she would suggest that I sleep with other women, unable to give me what she felt I deserved. But my love for her was unwavering, and I would gently remind her that I was here to stay no matter what our circumstances may be. These conversations often ended in tears as she questioned why someone like me would choose to stay with someone like her. And every time, I would simply hold her close and tell her that it was because I loved her unconditionally, regardless of our situation. Through her tears and struggles with depression, I remained by her side, doing my best to support and care for her in any way possible. As the day progressed, we eventually made our way to the doctor's office for our long-awaited medical checkups. The sterile smell of disinfectant filled the air as we nervously sat in the waiting room, anticipating our turn. Finally, the doctor called us into his office and delivered the shocking news. They had discovered a mass in my wife's throat that was abnormally large. The word cancer hung heavy in the air as he explained that a biopsy would need to be done to confirm their suspicions. My initial reaction was one of utter shock, but my wife's response was unexpected. She simply laughed. At first, it was a small chuckle, but it quickly turned into hysterical laughter as she mumbled about this being her punishment. I managed to calm her down, but she requested something unexpected before the biopsy, a family dinner. Without hesitation, I agreed, and we gathered our children and immediate family for a night of togetherness. In my speech, I praised my wife as the light of my life and promised that we would get through this together. However, as I looked at my daughter's discomfort throughout the evening, I couldn't help but wonder if it was because of what was going on with her mother. As the sun set on the horizon, my phone rang and I saw it was my daughter calling. Her voice sounded different, slurred and shaky, and I could tell she had been drinking. My heart clenched with worry as she begged me not to hate her. I reassured her that I would never hate her, my precious little girl, and that no matter what, I would always love her. Her words were interrupted by sobs as she confessed to something that shattered my world. It turns out that while my wife was busy climbing the corporate ladder at the real estate firm, my daughter had gone on a road trip with some friends. They decided to stop at a diner they don't normally go to for a bite to eat, but instead of food, my daughter found betrayal. She caught her mother in a passionate embrace with a man she had never seen before. It was like a scene from a movie, their lips locked in an intimate dance, oblivious to the world around them. And this wasn't just any man, he was nothing like me. My daughter's heartbreak and anger spilled through the phone as she revealed that this was the reason for our failed marriage and why our relationship had deteriorated. As painful as it was to hear, I couldn't help but feel grateful for her honesty and relieved that our bond had grown stronger in the midst of such turmoil. I confronted my wife in a moment of gut-wrenching honesty. To her credit, she didn't deny it. Tears streamed down her face as she confirmed what I already knew. The co-worker from the messages was more than just a flirty acquaintance. She admitted that it was the dumbest thing she had ever done, but said he had relentlessly pursued her until she finally caved. As she spoke, her words carried the weight of regret and shame. She explained that getting caught by our daughter had been a wake-up call, making her realize the gravity of her actions. She wanted to keep it hidden, never wanting to hurt me, but also too cowardly to confess. She even begged our child to stay quiet about it. My heart felt like it had been ripped open as I tried to process this betrayal. Every aspect of our relationship was now called into question, and I couldn't help but wonder where I went wrong. Through tears and sobs, she reassured me that I had been a good husband and none of this was my fault. But since the truth came out, I couldn't bring myself to show her any love or affection. Our interactions became more like those between a nurse and patient rather than a husband and wife. The thought of leaving her crossed my mind, but then I remembered how dependent she was on me, financially and emotionally, and it seemed incredibly unfair to leave her stranded. I apologize if this all seems jumbled and scattered. My thoughts are in disarray as I try to make sense of everything that has happened. My emotions are in turmoil, and I'm struggling to find a way forward from this devastating blow. Update. The outpouring of support from both strangers on the post and messages in my inbox was overwhelming. It brought a sense of comfort and reassurance that we were not alone in our struggles. I did something that I am deeply ashamed of. My wife has always pushed me to share my true feelings and thoughts about her, no matter how ugly or cruel they may be. After my first post in the afternoon, as I prepared lunch for her as I always do, she suddenly grabbed my hand and begged me once again to open up to her. She couldn't bear the way I had been treating her since our D-Day, and so I exploded with pent-up emotions. Everything inside of me came rushing out. I told her that she was perfection to me, but since this betrayal, she has become used in my eyes. The very sound of her voice used to fill me with love and desire to give her the world, but now, just being around her makes me want to run away and never look back. I confess that she feels like a dead weight around my neck that will never leave because it needs me to survive. Despite all of this pain, she is still the first thing on my mind when I wake up in the morning and the last thing on my mind before I fall asleep at night. But those thoughts are accompanied by a pain so intense that I didn't know it was possible to feel. It makes me absolutely miserable because somehow, despite everything, I still need her. My longing to hold her in my arms is met with a flood of painful memories, images of her with another man betraying our love. But what cuts deepest is the fact that she dragged our innocent daughter into this mess. She thoughtlessly put our little girl in an impossible position and expected life to continue as normal. As I confronted my wife, tears streaming down her face, she admitted to deserving all the consequences coming her way. She begged for forgiveness, sharing how she has tirelessly tried to make amends for the despicable choice she made during that dark time. And though our daughter's relationship with her remains unchanged on the surface, it is a constant reminder of her actions and their impact. Through sobs and apologies, my wife confessed her remorse and guilt, willing to do anything to help me heal and recover from this heartbreak. She wanted me to know that even if I never forgive her and choose to end our marriage, she will always love only me. She holds no regrets about our life together, despite its current state, because it was more than she ever dreamed of. But behind her tear-stained face lies a woman who can barely stand to look at herself in the mirror. The reflection staring back at her is someone she never wanted to be. She vows to never let herself become that person again. As I look at her, I can see the self-loathing in her eyes for what she has done. My feelings are in turmoil. Is it possible to love someone deeply, yet also hate them intensely? The inner conflict within me is overwhelming. I know I need to address this, so I have booked therapy for my wife and myself. There is so much I want to say to her, but I fear losing control and saying things that may cause irreparable damage. Speaking in a controlled environment seems like the best option. But there's another urge consuming me, to speak with the man who came between us. It may seem futile after all these years, but I feel an intense need to do so for my own peace of mind. Who was this audacious individual who dared to intrude on a sacred bond between husband and wife? Perhaps during our therapy session, I will ask for his information. I am grateful for all of your support and guidance during this difficult time. Thank you all once again from the bottom of my heart. That's it for today's episode, but the conversation doesn't end here. What we've uncovered together is more than just a story. It's a reflection on the resilience and complexity of human relationships. As you reflect on this tale, think about the roles we play, the choices we make, and how they shape our lives and those around us. If this story struck a chord, or if you have insights or experiences of your own to share, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below, share this video, and let's keep this important discussion going. Remember, each story shared is a step towards understanding the intricate dance of love and commitment. Thank you for joining me on this emotional journey. Subscribe for more heartfelt stories and insights. And until next time, keep seeking the truth in the stories we share. Goodbye for now, and take care.